Good morning, guys. In the previous class, we discussed about what is web service, why we need to go for this web service, what is REST API, and how the REST API is going to work in the real time, what is provider and what is consumer. I have taken two real-time scenarios, how the provider and consumer is going to communicate, and I have explained how I have implemented Ashok IT website using the consumer and provider concept by using the REST API, and how the provider and consumer will exchange the data by using JSON format. And we also discussed about what is JSON and how that JSON is going to look like, and how to work with JSON data in the Java applications. What is the third-party API available in order to convert Java object to JSON data and JSON data to Java object. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation, that is going to represent our data in the key value format. Key can be anything, value can be anything. The key will be represented in the string format. That JSON is very lightweight, and that JSON is platform independent and language independent, and JSON is interoperable. Multiple languages, multiple technologies will support for the JSON format. And how we are going to work with the JSON? To work with the JSON, we need to use third-party APIs like Jackson API and the JSON API, guys. So in the Java applications, we can use this Jackson or JSON API to work with the JSON data. So yesterday we have seen how to work with the Jackson API. Jackson API provided a predefined class called Object Mapper class is available. That Object Mapper class is used to convert the Java object to JSON data and JSON data to Java object. Okay, write value method, read value methods are available. So write value method is used to perform the serialization. What is the serialization? The process of converting Java object to JSON data is called as a serialization, and the deserialization, the process of converting JSON data back to Java object is called deserialization. Write value method, read value methods are available in order to perform this serialization and deserialization concept. Okay, so once it is done, we have seen there is another API called JSON API is also available. By using this JSON API also, we can convert the Java object to JSON data and JSON data to Java object. So to JSON from JSON methods are available in order to perform these operations. All good. And the next one, if we want to work with the REST API's development, JSON knowledge is very, very important. Along with the JSON knowledge, we also should have very strong knowledge related to HTTP. HTTP protocol also we need to understand, because HTTP protocol we are going to use as a mediator between client and server communication. Provider and consumer are going to communicate by using HTTP protocol as a mediator. Yesterday, I asked you people to do some research before coming to today's session on the HTTP protocol. So here we are having one application which is acting as a provider, and here there is another application which is acting as a consumer. And this provider application, consumer application will be developed using different technologies. They will be running in the different platforms in the different locations. Okay, consumer application is available and provider application is available. The consumer application and provider application may not be developed by using same technology, may not be deployed in the same server, may not be deployed in the same system, same location. So everything can be different. Now, for example, this consumer application is developed by using Java technology, guys. Assume that. So the technology which is used to develop this application is Java, and it is running inside a server called Tomcat, and it is running inside a machine called OS. It is running inside a machine called Windows machine or Linux machine we are using. The Linux OS we are using, and the location, this machine is available in India. Okay, this is our application that we developed. This is our application we developed by using Java technology. Our consumer application developed by using Java, and this Java application is developed using Spring Boot, and it is running inside a Tomcat server, and it is deployed inside one Linux machine. That Linux machine is available in the India. Okay, this is consumer application. Next one, coming to the provider application. Provider application is developed by using a technology called .NET. Provider developed by using .NET. Provider running in a server called IIS server. How we have Tomcat, they have IIS server, and the operating system they are using Unix OS, and the location they are running their machine, they are using that in the US. So consumer application developed technology Java, location India, and it is developed by a company called TCS, for example. Okay, and the provider application .NET technology they used server IIS, operating system Linux, location USA, and the company which developed this application is something like Optum Technologies, Optum company. Earlier it is UHG, now they renamed it as Optum. So one project developed by TCS, another project developed by Optum, and these projects are developed by using different technologies, different servers, different operating systems they are using in order to run these applications. Now, consumer application want to access some services from the provider application. Consumer application want to access some services from the provider. So these provider and consumer applications developed by different technologies, they are running in the different systems, they are running in the different locations. Now they want to communicate. So what is a provider? This application is giving services to other applications. Any application which is giving the services to other application is called as a provider application. And any application which is taking the services from the other applications, that is called as a consumer application. And this consumer and provider will communicate. So how that communication will happen? Through network. Okay, consumer application will send a request to the provider, and provider application will send the response back to the consumer. So this request they are sending by using HTTP protocol, guys. So they are going to send a request by using HTTP protocol. HTTP request and HTTP response will be available. This HTTP protocol will be used as a mediator between consumer and provider. So without this HTTP protocol, the communication will not happen, because two projects are not running in the same system. Two projects are not running in the same company. So consumer developed by one company and it is running in one system developed by one technology, and provider running in another company, another system, another technology, another platform. So one project is running in the India location, another project is running in the US location. So how they are going to communicate? Through network. Excuse me. So this consumer application and provider application is going to communicate by using network. Now you can see Ashok IT website is running in one system and WhatsApp is running in the another system. So my application, our Ashok IT website, is communicating with the WhatsApp application to send the WhatsApp messages to the people. So where is that WhatsApp application running? In US, in some server. We don't know where is that, but we are able to access it by using protocol. What is that protocol? HTTP protocol we are using as a mediator. So consumer application will send the HTTP request to the provider application. Provider application will process that request and will send the HTTP response back to the consumer application. In this request, what we are going to send? In this request, we are going to send JSON data. So whatever the request that I am sending to the provider, in that request, JSON data will be available, and provider also will send the JSON data back to the consumer as a response. Consumer and provider will exchange the data in the form of JSON only. Okay, how that JSON data will be sent from consumer application to provider application? By using HTTP request. Consumer will send one HTTP request to the provider. Provider will process that request. Provider will send response to the consumer. So if you consider this consumer application, which is a Make My Trip application, and provider application is IRCTC application. Provider is IRCTC. Both are developed by two different companies and developed using different technologies. Then how they are communicating? By using HTTP protocol as a mediator. So these systems are connected by using network. These systems are connected by using network, and we are using HTTP protocol to establish that communication. So if you want to develop these kind of distributed applications, if you want to develop this kind of REST APIs, microservices, understanding the HTTP protocol is very, very, very important. Understanding HTTP protocol is very, very important. Then only we can develop these kind of projects, guys. So in the real time, every project will be developed like this only. Distributed application. One application should communicate with the another application. And these two applications, one is called as a provider, another one is called as a consumer. Provider and consumer may not be in the same technology, may not be in the same server, may not be in the same system, may not be in the same location. So they are distributed in the world. They can be anywhere. We should be able to access. So for that, we will use a JSON as a mediator. So consumer application will send JSON data to the provider application. Provider application will process that JSON data request, will send a response back to the consumer again in the JSON format. Example, end user is communicating with the Make My Trip application to book a train ticket. Okay, the same user can go to IRCTC, also can book the ticket, but IRCTC is a government website, offers will not be available. So Make My Trip is a private company, offers will be available. So to attract more customers, Make My Trip will give some offers on the ticket price. So that's why so many people will go to the Make My Trip application. And that too, if you go to IRCTC, only train tickets and hotels we can book. But if you go for Make My Trip, many services available. Flight tickets booking available, hotels booking, trains booking, cabs booking, tour packages booking, holiday vacation packages available, tourism places booking also available in the Make My Trip. Many services available in the Make My Trip. So that's why customers are attracted towards the Make My Trip application. So end user will go to the Make My Trip application. End user will fill the details to book a ticket. Suppose, for example, I want to book a train ticket. Then I will go to Make My Trip application as an end user. Make My Trip will ask me to provide the data. So from where to where you want to travel, which train, what is the seat class, sleeper class or AC, what you want, what is your journey date, how many members want to travel, how many tickets you want to book, what is your ticket preference, berth preference. So everything, whatever information is required for the ticket booking, Make My Trip application will take from me. I am a customer for the Make My Trip. So I will give my data to the Make My Trip application. Then what this Make My Trip application will do? Whatever the data I have given, I am a customer data, customer object will be available. My data will be represented in the form of one customer object, passenger data, passenger object, passenger name, passenger email ID, passenger phone number, date of birth, journey date, from station to station, what is the train number, and what is the berth preference. All this information, whatever I am giving to the Make My Trip application, that information will be represented in one customer object or passenger object. That passenger object, whatever the passenger object is available in the Make My Trip application, Make My Trip will not send that passenger object to the IRCTC. No. Why? Because Make My Trip is developed using Java. Make My Trip will understand the Java object. But IRCTC developed by using .NET. So .NET application cannot understand the Java object. So we should not send the data from one application to another application in the object format. No, because objects are technology dependent. So if you represent my customer data or my passenger data, so I am a passenger for the Make My Trip. I am a passenger for the Make My Trip. So if this passenger data represented in the passenger object, if I give the passenger object to the IRCTC, it cannot understand because both are developed using different technologies. Java object is different, .NET object is different. Then what is the common between Java and .NET? JSON is the common. So that's why what Make My Trip will do, Make My Trip application will take the data from me. I'm a passenger, or I can say I'm a customer. Make My Trip will take the customer data, customer object will be converted to JSON, and make my trip will send that JSON data to the IRCTC. So Java can understand JSON, .NET also can understand JSON, Angular can understand JSON, Python can understand JSON. So all these software programming languages can understand the JSON. That's why JSON is interoperable format, language independent, technology independent. Okay, so make my trip will take the passenger data and it will be representing the passenger data in the object format. So can I send object directly from the make my trip application to IRCTC application? Can these two applications communicate by using objects data, or they should not communicate by using objects data? Come on.
They should not communicate with object
They should not communicate by using objects data. Why they should not communicate by using objects data?
Objects are technology dependent.
Objects are technology dependent. Consumer and provider developed using different technologies. One is by using Java, another one is by using .NET. Objects are technology dependent. So we need to make our applications loosely coupled, technology independent. Then only we can communicate. So that's where whatever the passenger data is coming to the make my trip application, it will convert that passenger data into JSON. Okay, whatever the Java object is available, that Java object will be converted to JSON data. That JSON data will be sent to the provider by using HTTP request. Passenger is giving the information to the make my trip. That information will be represented in the object. Object will not be sent directly because objects are technology dependent. So that's why that passenger data will be converted into one JSON in the make my trip application. So now do you know how to convert that Java object to JSON? Customer data is coming from the UI. From the form we are getting the customer data. That data is available in the form binding object. So that object I need to convert to JSON. That JSON I will send it to the IRCTC. Are you able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are going to convert that Java object to JSON. Can you tell me how to convert that Java object to JSON?
Object map.
By using
object
Jackson
mappers.
or
Jackson
JSON or
API is
JSON API.
available. What is the method available to convert? What is the class and what is the method available?
Object mapper
class.
Object mapper class.
read value and write value.
You are a end user. You will go to make my trip application. You will fill all the details. You will click on ticket book button. Then make my trip will take your form data in the form of one object, passenger object. Passenger object will be given to Jackson API. Jackson API will convert your object into JSON, will give the JSON to you. Then make my trip will take that JSON, will send that JSON data to the IRCTC. So IRCTC application developed by .NET. How this JSON data will go from make my trip application to the IRCTC? Through HTTP request. Once the JSON is sent, IRCTC will convert JSON data back to .NET object. Whatever the JSON data is coming to the IRCTC, what IRCTC people will do? So we are using Jackson API to convert the Java object to JSON, JSON data to Java object. Now when you go for .NET application, in the .NET application also, there will be some third-party API, maybe some API in the .NET. We don't know. I am not a .NET developer. I'm a Java developer. I know Jackson, which is used to convert Java object to JSON, JSON data to Java object. Similarly, in the .NET application also, in the .NET technology also, there will be some third-party API or some .NET built-in API to convert JSON data back to .NET object. Yes or no? So I got the data from the passenger in the object. My object is converted to JSON using Jackson. I sent that JSON data to the provider. What will happen at the provider side? Provider is taking JSON as the input from the consumer. Consumer is sending JSON as the input to the provider. Then what provider will do? Provider will again convert that JSON to object to execute the logic. So the logic we are writing in the project, it depends on the objects only. But what is the input we are getting as a provider? Provider is getting JSON data from the consumer. Then what will happen in the provider? Provider side, again, this JSON data will be converted to object format. Then with that object, the logic will execute. Ticket booking and storing the data in the database, some business logic will be executed. After the business logic is executed, passenger data is coming from the your end user to make my trip. Make my trip converted passenger object to the JSON, sent the JSON to the provider. Provider converted JSON back to Java object. Again, provider side, the object is available. Whatever the JSON we are sending, that JSON is converted to object and provider logic will be executed. Provider logic will be executed. Then after, what provider will do? Provider will send the object as a response, or again provider should convert the object to JSON and send the JSON as a response to the consumer. Come on,
Object
guys.
to JSON.
What provider will do now? Provider is taking input as a JSON. That input is converted to object and the logic is executed by using objects, because our technologies are OOP programming language based. So everything will be represented in the object format. So that's why consumer object is available in the passenger object available in the consumer, passenger object available in the consumer, that is converted to JSON, sent to the provider. Provider has taken the JSON as the input, converted to object, logic is executed. Business logic, ticket booking, passenger data received, passenger ticket booked, then ticket object is available. Whatever the ticket object available, is the provider sending ticket object directly to the consumer? Can provider send a ticket object to the consumer directly?
No.
JSON form.
Why provider should not send the ticket object to the consumer directly?
Because
Consumer is
Java
developed using
can't-
one
they can't
technology,
understand the-
provider is developed by using another technology. So then what provider will do again? Provider will take the JSON as the input. That JSON is converted to object to execute the logic, because the coding is based on the objects only, but the input is coming in the JSON. That's why first time provider side JSON will be converted to object and logic will be executed. After the logic is executed, final response object, that is a ticket object. Ticket object data will be converted to JSON, that JSON will be sent back to the consumer. So consumer is getting the ticket data as a JSON data. Then again, in the consumer side, what will happen? Whatever the JSON is coming as a response, that JSON again will be converted back to Java object. Again, that JSON data will be converted back to Java object. Consumer side 2 times conversion will happen. Provider side also 2 times conversion will happen. Are you guys able to understand this diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now you imagine, whenever you are using Google Pay application, whenever you are using Swiggy, whenever you are using IRCTC, whenever you are using Make My Trip, whenever you are using any project, in the background, this is what is happening. And if you use any full stack application, consumer application is Angular, provider application is Java, consumer application is React, provider application is Java, consumer is Java, provider is .NET, consumer is Java, provider is Python. It can be anything. In the background, this is the process. Consumer application will take the data from the end user. End user data will come in the form of one Java object. That Java object will be converted to JSON in the consumer. Then JSON will be sent to the provider. Provider side, JSON will be converted back to object for the execution of the logic. Once the logic is executed, response will be prepared. That response object will be converted back to JSON. That JSON response will be sent to the consumer. Again, consumer will convert that JSON response back to Java object. That Java object we will use to display the response to the end user.
Sir, only one technology, no? JSON only, no? Alternative JSON, any other technology is there?
No, sir, only JSON now. Earlier XML people used, now people are using only JSON. XML is outdated.
Sir, I hear one technology, sir, RW, remote web control, that also it is.
Those all are outdated, sir.
DW also.
No. Earlier, JAX WS, JAX RPC, JAX RS, Jersey, like that. There are so many technologies available in the Java, but those all are outdated. And currently we are using only REST API. That REST API also we are developing with the Spring Boot. When we are developing the REST API, not only in the Java, if you develop the REST API by using any technology, this is the flow. JSON data will be used as a mediator to send the data and to receive the data. And that JSON data we will send and we will receive by using HTTP protocol as a mediator. HTTP will be used as a mediator between consumer and provider. Consumer will send JSON data to the provider. Provider will use that JSON and will execute the business logic and will give the response back to the consumer again in the JSON format. Excuse me, guys. How that JSON will be used in the both consumer and provider application. So passenger, now I am taking a scenario, Make My Trip application and IRCTC application. I'm an end user. I want to book a flight ticket. So I will go to Make My Trip application. Make My Trip application will take my data. I'm a customer to the Make My Trip. Make My Trip will consider me as a passenger. I will give all my details regarding my journey. My data will go to Make My Trip. So Make My Trip will represent my data in one object, passenger data. That object will be converted to JSON by using Jackson API. That JSON data they will send it to the provider by using HTTP request. Provider application will take that JSON as an input, will convert that JSON data to object, and provider side logic will be executed by using object. Once the logic is executed, some object will be prepared with the response. Response data they want to send to the consumer. They can't send the response object to the consumer. That response object will be converted back to JSON. They will send the JSON as a response to the Make My Trip. JSON will not, the Make My Trip will not give the JSON to me as an end user. For the end user, JSON is not the response. Make My Trip will receive the JSON as a response. Make My Trip again will convert that JSON to Java object. Through that Java object, they will send the response to the passenger. So consumer side, Java object converted to JSON, JSON will go to provider. Provider side, JSON will be converted to object, logic will be executed. After logic is executed, response will be prepared. The response object will be available. Response object will be converted back to JSON in the provider, and provider will send JSON data as a response back to the consumer. Consumer side, again JSON will be converted to object. With that object, they will prepare the UI page and they will display response to the end user. So the JSON is only for B2B communication, not for end user. End user will not give the JSON. End user will not take the JSON because I'm a non-technical guy. I don't know any JSON. Okay, I'm a non-technical guy. I don't know any JSON. So JSON is not for end users. JSON is purely for B2B communication. For end user UI page, form will be available. User will enter the data in the form and the user want response back in the text format. End user will not take JSON as a response. End user will not give the JSON as an input. So that the JSON data should be taken care by our applications only. So end user will fill the form. Passenger will fill the form to book the ticket. Then it is the responsibility of the Make My Trip application to convert that passenger data into JSON, send the JSON data to IRCTC. IRCTC will take the JSON, passenger JSON, will convert into passenger object. With the passenger object, they will execute the logic to book the ticket. Once the ticket booking is completed, ticket object will be prepared. They will convert the ticket object to ticket JSON. Ticket JSON will be sent to the Make My Trip. Make My Trip will take the ticket data in the JSON format, will be converting back to ticket object. That object they will send it to the UI and they will display the ticket data. So the JSON is only for B2B communication. One application to another application, communication will happen with the JSON. So to send the JSON, to receive the JSON, there should be some transport protocol. So there should be some transport. Now I want to travel from my house to Amirpet. I will use one vehicle for my transportation. I will use some vehicle for my transportation. Similarly, consumer want to send JSON to provider, provider want to send JSON to consumer. So there should be some transportation facility. Who will provide the transportation? HTTP will provide the transportation. By using that HTTP, we can send the JSON and we can receive the JSON. HTTP is a mediator which will provide the facility to send the request and receive the response. What will be there in the request? Request will contain JSON data. What will be there in the response? JSON data. Are you clear with my point?
Yes, sir.
Guys, if you understand this flow of execution, then only you can develop the REST APIs. So without having this clarity, you cannot build the microservices. You cannot develop distributed applications without having the clarity on this architecture. How consumer and provider will communicate, and where the data will be available, how the data will be represented, how the data will be converted, who will convert the data, how the data will be sent, how the data will be received, where the conversions will happen, where the data conversion will happen, how many times conversion will happen in the provider, how many times conversion will happen at the consumer. You should know all these things which are happening internally. If you know this concept, then you will get the confidence to develop the REST APIs. And if you don't know how to develop the REST API, then you will not get the job, because in the today's market, every project is based on the REST APIs only. And if you consider not only Make My Trip, not only IRCTC. So if you consider this is my consumer is Angular application or React application, my backend is a Java application. Angular project will take your data, will send that data to the provider in the JSON. Then Spring Boot application will take the JSON, will be converted to Java object, then will execute the logic. Then Spring Boot will give the JSON to the Angular. Angular will take the JSON, will display in the UI. That's it. Angular, Spring Boot, conversion, communication, Angular to Spring Boot, React to Spring Boot. Communication will happen with the JSON format only. The JSON is very important. Without JSON, there is no distributed application nowadays. Without JSON, there is no full stack application nowadays. And yesterday, we have done one example, how to convert Java object to JSON, JSON to Java object by using Jackson API. What is this JSON? JavaScript object notation, which will represent data in the form of key and value. JSON is very lightweight and key is a string, value can be anything. So JSON is platform independent, nothing but in Windows also we can use JSON, in Linux also you can use JSON. JSON is a technology independent. Angular can understand, React can understand, Java, Python, .NET, Node.js, PHP, everybody, every technology can understand the JSON. So that's why it is called interoperable. Now JSON is a highly demanded format to exchange the data from one application to another application, especially when we are developing distributed applications. To exchange data from one application to another application, we will use a JSON format. So in the distributed application, one application will play the role as a consumer, another application will play the role as a provider. Consumer and provider will communicate. Who is a consumer? The application which is taking the services from the other application is called as a consumer. Who is a provider? The application which is giving the services to other application is called as a provider. Consumer, provider, they will be developed or they can be developed by using different technologies. One is Java, another one is .NET. One is Java, another one is Python. One is Angular, another one is Java. One is React, another one is Java. It can be any technology. Okay, so these two applications are running in the two different systems, and these are two systems available in the two different locations. They want to communicate for B2B, business to business communication. Consumer is doing one business, provider is doing one business. As part of their business growth, they want to communicate. So for that, JSON will be used as a mediator. How consumer will send JSON to provider? How provider will send JSON to consumer? For that, we need one transport. Who will provide that transport? That transport will be provided by HTTP. HTTP is acting as a mediator between consumer and provider to send the request, to receive the response. How we will send the request? Using HTTP. What we will send in the request? JSON data. Consumer will send JSON data to the provider. Provider will send JSON data to the consumer. Request data, response data will be represented in the JSON. So now you take Make My Trip, IRCTC. Make My Trip is consumer, IRCTC is provider. Developed by different technologies, developed in different companies, deployed in different servers, running in different computers. Those computers are available in different locations. then still they are communicating. B2B communication. So I am an end user. I will go to Make My Trip. I will log in into Make My Trip. I will fill my details. I'm an end user. I'm a passenger. I want to book a train ticket. So I will enter my data, book ticket. Make My Trip will take passenger data in the form of a passenger object. Passenger object will be converted to JSON. Send that JSON to IRCTC by using HTTP request. Then IRCTC will take the passenger JSON, convert it to passenger object, and execute the logic to book the train ticket. Once the ticket booking is completed, ticket data will be available in the ticket object. Ticket object will be converted to ticket JSON, send it to the Make My Trip. Make My Trip will take the ticket JSON, convert to ticket object. Using that ticket object, prepare the ticket for the customer and give the ticket to the customer. So that is the communication between the consumer and provider. So there is a lot of depth available here, guys. The distributed applications are very, very important. How they are working in the background, that is very important to understand if you want to develop them. If you want to develop any distributed application, you need to understand. Now, you understand a scenario. You are using Google Pay. From the Google Pay, you are transferring the amount to your friend. So your account is available in the SBI. Suppose, for example, you want to send some amount from your Google Pay application to my Google Pay number. Your Google Pay number, my Google Pay number. Your account available in the SBI, my account is available in the Axis Bank. Then how communication will happen? So you will go to Google Pay, you will enter my number, send 1,000 rupees. So your account in the SBI, Google Pay should connect with the SBI and should get the balance and should check the amount is available or not. If the balance is available, then Google Pay will transfer 1,000 rupees from your SBI account to my Axis Bank account. So here, Google Pay communicating with the SBI, Google Pay communicating with the Axis Bank also. How these are communicating? Google Pay developed by using one technology, SBI developed by using another technology, SBI project, Axis Bank project developed by another technology. 3 projects are communicating by using JSON. So when you send amount by using Google Pay will take your data, mobile number, amount, will send to the bank. Bank will take the JSON, will process that request. Then bank will give the response to the Google Pay will give the response to you. So these are distributed applications. Are you able to understand my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you ever imagined that in the background this much story is happening? How many times you used Google Pay? More than 5,000 times. Every day we will open and if you go for chai, scan in the Google Pay, go to restaurant, scan. So go to any outside, anywhere you want to do the payment, scan with the Google Pay, Phone Pay, or Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, kuch bhi. So wherever you do the scan and you do the payment, in the background, this much code will be executed. This process will execute in the background. So as a developer, for end user, this much is not required. End user means you don't know what's happening in the background. For end user, service is required. For the developer, internals, the development process, how to communicate from one application to another application, that is required. And whatever that you are learning, this is not a fresher content. So once you are able to develop this kind of REST APIs, you are equal to 3 years experience developer. So for fresher, this is a very, very, very huge content. This is not at all fresher content. It is at the experienced level. Experienced developer. You are becoming experienced developer slowly. If you can develop the REST APIs like this, if you understand how the REST APIs are communicating, how the process is happening in the background, how the data is represented, how the data is converting, how one application communicating with another application, okay, then you are called as experienced developer. So my Spring Boot microservices is not for freshers. Are you ready to start the development of the REST APIs? Theoretically, we are understanding what is REST API, what is the REST API architecture, why we need to develop the REST APIs, and how they are going to communicate. Just theoretically, we are trying to understand. So whatever that you are seeing in the diagram, we need to develop this programmatically. Whatever that we are developing learning theoretically, we need to develop this programmatically.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, in using Spring Boot, can you generate
Can you come again, sir? Your question is not clear for me.
Sir, using Spring Boot, we can generate QR code also?
QR code, yes, we can develop. Code you can generate, OTP you can generate, CAPTCHA you can implement. So you can do everything. Okay.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello,
Small
sir.
dot, sir.
Yeah, hi.
We can use the technologies are different, sir, but we can use the same technology. What happens, sir?
Same technology also, when we are transferring the data over a network, JSON only we are going to use. If a consumer and provider also developed by using same technology also, then the process will be same. So when we are transferring the data over a network, that will be represented by using JSON format only. Whether it is the same technology or whether it is a different technology, the communication will happen through the JSON data only.
The process will remain same, sir.
Same, process is same.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
What is the performance effect when using distributed application?
Sir, it's fraction of a milliseconds the data will be converted, sir. So you don't need to bother. If you think about the performance now, you can see all the real-time applications are running like this only. There is no impact on the performance.
Oh.
Hello.
It will take fraction of a milliseconds to do these conversions.
Sir, for creating a QR code, there is some predefined methods class, sir. How to
Sir, some
generate?
APIs we need to use, sir. If you want to generate the QR code in the application, some predefined APIs will be available.
Okay, sir. Sir, hello.
Guys, are you clear with this diagram?
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, how to solve get not support exception, sir?
Sir, ask the questions related to today's session, sir, please.
Sir, but I am facing this
That
problem.
is at the end of the session we can discuss, sir. You are asking off topic. People will be deviated.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir.
Sir, if our application is belong to client to business application, then there is no need to convert object into JSON data.
Sorry, can you come again?
Sir, if our application is belong to client to business application,
client to business application, then JSON is not required. So client to business means our web MVC applications. So in the web MVC, there is no JSON.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
If you are developing a Spring Boot application with web MVC, direct your UI is available in the project, then you no need to convert the object to JSON. So we developed web MVC. In that time, we did not use JSON. Okay. If you are developing B2B applications, full stack, front end one application, back end one application, then JSON is required. So whatever we learnt in the web MVC, we developed one single application. In that we created objects and we used Timeleaf UI. At that time, JSON is not required.
Okay.
Sir, IRCTC developed by one company, sir. MicMetribe developed by another company, sir.
Yes.
If they communicate with both of them, they will any companies between any contract between there, sir?
Yes, sir. Without contract, they cannot communicate.
Without contract?
Yes, they will go to a contract, they will do the license, they will pay the money, and they will get the access. Then only they can communicate. Now, WhatsApp company is there. Ashok IT communicating with the WhatsApp. How Ashok IT communicating with the WhatsApp? There is a contract between Ashok IT and WhatsApp. Okay. So that is what I paid the license for the WhatsApp. They have given the access for me. Make My Trip company employees, Make My Trip company people will communicate with the IRCTC project team, the Indian government. They have the business dealing and they have paid the money for them and they got the access of IRCTC. So consumer and provider will communicate, will do the business dealing, will pay the license amount, they will get the access, then only they can communicate. Can Ashok IT communicate with the IRCTC directly to book the train ticket? Can I know Java, I am a Java developer, so I'm very good in Java. Can I develop one functionality in the Ashok IT website to book the train ticket by communicating with IRCTC? Can I do that? Can I do that or I cannot do that?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
No. We cannot
We
do.
should
Why?
have
Because
contract.
why I
Without
cannot do the train
Because
ticket
you
booking in
have
the
a-
Ashok IT?
we
Because
need to have the permission.
You need to
sir.
have access to the API.
Ashok IT people should get the permission for the IRCTC API. So to get the permission from the IRCTC API, Ashok IT people should have the meeting with the Indian central government. So IRCTC is a central government project. So we need to meet Indian Railway Minister. So once we had a meeting with the Indian Railway Minister, we need to give our business proposal. They will verify our business proposal. If they are agree for that, then only they will give the access for us. To give the access, we need to pay the money for them. We need to get the IRCTC API access. So once you get the IRCTC API access, then you can write the logic to book the train tickets in your website. Okay, but it is not that much easy to get the license of the IRCTC API.
Sir, why are they communicate with IRCTC, sir? They can't develop their own applications.
Which one? Who?
Make my trips.
They can develop their own application, but how they will know the trains of Indian railway system? Who will maintain the Indian railway system?
Central governments.
Why central government will give that railway system details to the Make My Trip? They will not give that, right? Make My Trip is a private company.
Okay.
So that is the reason.
Sir, what benefits they are going to get, sir? Make my trip if they communicating with the IRCTC. Any business?
Customers, more customers will come.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Data. And in the Make My Trip, more customers will come. When more customers are visiting the website, they will display ads on the website. Customers will click on the ads. When they click the ads, they will get money.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, to send the OTP to email, we need to add any API, sir? Or
no, sir.
directly
Email
from-
sending to the OTP sending to the email, you don't need to have any API. Directly, Java mail sending logic, you can send the OTP.
Okay, sir.
What OTP, if you want to send to the WhatsApp, then API is required. If you want to send the OTP to the email, direct mail sending functionality we can implement.
Okay, sir.
Okay, because in the WebMVC we have seen email sending. In the body, I
Yes,
can
sir.
keep OTP. That's it.
OTP, okay, sir.
Yeah, but if you want to send the OTP in the WhatsApp, then API communication is required.
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys, able to understand the diagram? There is a lot of depth in the diagram. So you need to understand this diagram, then only you can develop the REST APIs. Now, I given the task for you to understand what is the HTTP protocol. Now you got the clarity where we are going to use the HTTP protocol in our development. Guys, where we are going to use HTTP protocol in our development?
To communicate with the distributed applications.
To send the request and to get the response. Consumer application will send a request and provider application will send the response. In that request, JSON data, in the response, JSON data will be available. Request will be sent, response will be sent. For that, we will use HTTP. So what is the meaning of a HTTP, guys? Can anybody tell me about what you have learnt about HTTP? Yesterday, I have told you to analyze HTTP protocol. What do you learn from HTTP?
HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, sir.
Okay.
It's having some features. It's a stateless protocol and it's compatible with hypertext data. Why? Because we send the response and we send the request and get the response in the format hypertext data. Already the HTTP protocol is compatible with hypertext data. That's why we are using HTTP protocol. In general, 99% we are using HTTP protocol to transfer to make a request and get the response. We are using HTTP request. Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what are the HTTP methods available?
Yes, sir. In HTTP 1.0, get head post method is there, sir. In HTTP 2.0, some trace, options, delete, and put methods are available, sir.
Okay, what are the status codes available in the HTTP protocol?
Sir, status codes means it is used. It's a number that representing the status of a current request processing, sir. There are different types of status codes, sir. That means 300 to 399. It's a redirectional information. From 400 to 499, it's a client-side error. From 400 to 499, it will give a server-side error, sir. That type of information it will provide it.
Okay, very good. Good. So anyone else, can you tell me what are the status codes available in the HTTP protocol? What are the status codes available in the HTTP protocol? Can anybody tell me about that?
200, 201. 200 is a success message.
200 is a
Okay.
success message. Okay. Next one.
201 is status code is used if some resource is created at the server end. Then we
201
will
means
return with
resource created at the server side. Okay.
server side.
What is
yeah.
400?
100 to 199 is the information
404
related
not
status
400.
code.
Request.
Okay,
100 to
good.
199 is the
internal server
information
error.
related status code.
Fine.
500 internal server error.
500 means
400
internal
wait
server
request.
error. 500 means internal server
Internal server
error.
error.
Okay,
And
good.
402 means unauthorized.
401 means unauthorized access. 404 means resource not found.
Not found.
Yeah, like that there are several status codes available. So as a Java developer, as a REST API developer, you need to have very good amount of knowledge related to HTTP protocols. Okay, HTTP protocol. Without having the knowledge on this HTTP protocol, developing the REST API is not easy. Okay, let's understand some details related to HTTP protocol now. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, guys. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This HTTP protocol is going to act as a mediator between client and server. So when I say client and server, browser to the server and consumer to provider. So when two applications want to communicate through a network, then we are going to use this HTTP protocol as a mediator. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and this HTTP will act as a mediator between client and server, and the HTTP protocol is a stateless protocol. Stateless means brainless, Gajini. HTTP protocol is a Gajini. So whatever the conversation happening between the consumer and provider, HTTP cannot remember. Have you seen Gajini movie? All of you? Telugu Gajini is there, Hindi Gajini is there.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen Gajini movie?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is the main storyline in the Gajini?
Yes.
Every 15 minutes he will forget what.
For every 15 minutes, Amir Khan will forget the details in the Hindi. In Telugu, Surya will forget that information for every 15 minutes. So Gajini means there is no brain. They can't remember for long time. So here, when you go for HTTP protocol, HTTP is a stateless protocol. That means stateless nothing but HTTP protocol cannot remember. HTTP protocol cannot remember the conversation happened. Cannot remember the conversation happened between client and server. That means which client is sending the request. Okay, that cannot be remembered by the HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol will consider every request as a first request only. So that's the reason we are calling HTTP protocol as a stateless protocol. HTTP protocol cannot remember the conversation happened between client and server. Every request it will consider as a first request only. Every request will consider as a first request only. So when we are going for HTTP protocol, when a client want to send a request to the server, then HTTP methods will be used. So in the HTTP, we are having get method, we are having post method, we are having put method, and we are having delete method. Get, post, put, patch, delete, like that. There are several methods available. Okay, so there are several methods available, but as part of our API development, as part of our REST APIs, we are going to use these 5 methods. One is get, second one is post, third one is put, fourth one is patch, and fifth one is delete. So these are HTTP methods. When consumer want to send the request to the provider, consumer will send the HTTP request by using HTTP methods only. Get request, post request, put request, patch request, delete request. Like that, there are several request methods are available. So what is the meaning of this get request, guys? So get request, it is used to get the data from the server. It is used to get data from server. When consumer or when client want to get some data from the server, then client will send HTTP get request to the server. I want to get some data from the server. I want to get all the employees. I want to get all the countries. I want to get all the students, all the products. Then I will send a get request to the server. Then server is going to send a response to the client. Client will display the response to the end user. When client want to get the data from the server, then client will send HTTP get request to the server. It is used to get data from server. Then what about post request, guys? Post request, it is used to send data to server. It is used to send data to server. Client will send the data to server. If a client want to get the data from the server, get request. If a client want to send the data to server, post request. Then put, it is used to update the data at the server. It is used to update the data at server. This is full update. Complete resource, I want to update. So if I want to update the complete resource, one employee available, I want to update the complete employee data, then I will go for put. Patch is also available. It is used to perform partial update. It is used to update partial data. Nothing but employee available. I want to update only employee salary. Only salary. Employee name, employee email, employee gender, phone number, salary, address. So many details available. If you want to update complete record at the server, then you can go for put method. Put method is used for complete record update, whole update, complete resource update. When you want to perform partial data update, then you will go for patch method. Patch method is used to update the partial data. Then we are having delete method. What is the purpose of delete method? It is used to delete resource or record at server. So I want to delete one record from the server. So in the provider, there is data. I want to delete one record at the provider. Then consumer will send a HTTP delete request. If a consumer is sending a delete request, then that means consumer is asking to delete the record. If a consumer sending patch, that means the consumer is asking to update the data partial, one field in the record. Put means complete record update. Post means sending the data to create the record. Get means give the data. So here, this is a language, HTTP language, guys. Consumer and provider will communicate by using this language, HTTP methods. How I am communicating with you in English, how you are communicating with me in English. So similarly, consumer and provider will communicate by using one language, that is HTTP language. Get, post, put, patch, delete. Get means consumer will send a get request, means give me the data. Consumer is doing a post, that means sending the data. Consumer is sending put, that means update the data. Consumer sending patch, that means partial update. Consumer sending delete, that means delete a record. So consumer and provider will be communicated by using HTTP protocol as a mediator. So when the consumer want to communicate with the provider, consumer will send HTTP request to the provider. What type of request consumer can send? Get request, post request, put request, patch request, delete. So there are 5 types of requests consumer is sending to the provider. What is the meaning of get request? Get the data. Put, post request, send the data, create the record. Put, update. Patch, partial update. Delete the record. So this is consumer provider terminology, the language that they are going to use to communicate. Have you seen Bahubali movie? In the Bahubali, the director introduced one new language. What is that language name? How many of you watched Bahubali movie, guys?
Yes, sir.
What is that language
Of
name?
course, everyone, sir.
Kili.
It is the first pan-India movie, sir, from
What is the
Telugu.
language introduced in the Bahubali? In the fight scene?
Kiliki language, sir.
Sorry?
Kiliki.
Koliki language or Kiliki language? Something. Kiliki language introduced. Okay, that is used for their communication. Now, how we are communicating? We are communicating in the English. Okay, we are talking human language. So English is a human language. We are communicating with the human language. So in the Bahubali, those people communicated with the Kilki language, some different language for the movie. Now, similarly, consumer and provider application is available. Consumer and provider will be communicated by using HTTP language, HTTP methods available. Get method, post method, put method, patch method, delete method. Get means get the data. Post means client will send the data to the server. Put means update. Patch means partial update. Delete means delete the record at the server. So you understand when consumer will send what type of request and what is the meaning of that request, guys? When consumer will send get request, post request, put request, patch request, delete request, are you guys able to understand it?
Yes, sir.
So what is HTTP? HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That HTTP is going to act as a mediator between client and server, and that HTTP is stateless protocol. So what is the meaning of stateless protocol? It is Ghazni. It cannot remember the conversation happened between client and server. So when consumer and provider are going to communicate, they will use the HTTP request. So get request, post, put, patch, delete. What is the difference between get and post, guys? What is the difference between get and post?
Get retrieve.
It is for fetching the
Retrieve the
data.
data from the server.
Get is used to fetch the data. Get is used to fetch the data. Then what about post?
Post is to create the data into the server.
Yes, consumer will
Insert
send the
data.
data to the provider to create the record. Okay. Now, so here, when passenger want to get all the tickets, I have booked my tickets. I want to get my tickets. Then consumer will send get request to get the tickets. Make my trip will send get request to get the tickets. Make my trip want to book a ticket for the passenger. Then what make my trip will do?
Post request.
Post request. Consumer want to update the ticket. Post. Okay. Consumer want to cancel the ticket.
Delete.
Like this. So depends on the requirement. We are going to use HTTP methods. And here, consumer and provider, different applications, right? When consumer send a request to the provider, provider will send some response. So whether it is a success response, whether it is a failure response, because so when consumer send a request to the provider, provider sending some response. Is it a success response? Is it a failure response? Consumer should know. So that's where HTTP protocol will use some status codes, guys. HTTP protocol will use some status codes to send the response to the client. Okay, so what are the status codes available? So these status codes are divided into 5 categories. 1 category, 2 category, 3 category, 4 category, and 5 category. HTTP status codes are divided into 5 types, guys. So these status codes will be sent by server. When client send a request to the server, server will send the response along with the status code. When a client is sending a request to the server, server will process that request. Server will send the response to the client by using HTTP status codes. 1xx, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 categories will be available. So when we go for 1xx nothing but it is from 100 to 199, guys. Any status code from 100 to 199 comes under this category. This represents information status codes. 1x is nothing but information. Any HTTP status code from 100 to 199 comes under one category, which is informational status codes. We don't see that status code in our applications, guys. Next, two category available. Any status code from 200 to 299. Any status code coming from 200 to 299 that represents success. So whatever the request is sent by the client, server is able to process that request successfully. So this is representing success. That means whatever the request client sent to the server processed that request successfully and sent a response back to the client. One means information, two means success. The next one, three category is available. So which is 300 to 399. 300 to 399 is available. This is representing redirectional. So you sent a request to one resource, one server. That server redirected your request to another server. That is called redirectional. Okay, you are sending request to one server, that is redirected to another server. Then you will get the 300 as a status code, 300 to 399, any number in between that. Then next one, 4 series is available, any number between 400 to 499. So if you get any 4 series error, 4 series status code, that is a client mistake, client side error. Your request is invalid. The meaning of 400 status code is, it is your problem. It is a client problem. Client is not sending proper request to the server. That's why the request is failed at the server side. If a client is doing some mistake in the request sending, then server will send the response with the 4xx category. And 5 category available, any number between 500 to 599. So any number between 500 to 599, this comes under server error. So you send request correctly, but the server is not able to process your request. You send request correctly, but server is not able to process your request. Then you will get the server error. Client error, server error. If you are getting any status code from 400 to 499, then it is a client error. If you are getting the 5 number error code, then it is a server error. Client error, server error. 4 series means client mistake. 5 series means server mistake. So whenever consumer application is sending the request to the provider application, that means consumer sending the request to the provider. Consumer is called client, provider is called server. When client send the request to the server, server will respond with the HTTP status code. With that HTTP status code, we will understand. With that HTTP status code, we will understand the status of our request. Whether our request processed successfully or our request failed. If it is failed, is it a client side problem or is it a server side problem? We will understand based on the status code given by the server. So client will send HTTP request to the server. Server will process that request. Server will send response to the client. In that response, status code will be available. So that status code can be anything. 1 series, 2 series, 3, 4, 5. 1 means information. 2 means success. 3 means redirection. 4 means client mistake, client error. 5 means server side error. So HTTP status codes are very, very, very important when we are developing the REST API. Now, we are using browser every day. So when you go to the browser, when you type google.com, that means you are sending a GET request. You got the response from the server. You are a client. Browser is a client. So in this browser, what we are doing? Naukari.com. We are typing a website naukari.com. So that means you sent a request and you got the response, but you can't see the status code in the browser. So browser is displaying the UI for you. So if you want to see the status code, you can use Postman. When you send the request by using Postman tool, then you can see the status codes properly. When you send the request by using Postman, you can send the status code properly. So all of you, please download Postman tool. So as part of our REST API development, we need to use the Postman software. Download Postman for Windows. You download Postman for the Windows. Okay, it's a free software. You can download that Postman for the Windows. Download Postman for Windows. Okay, so once you download the .exe file will be available, you can install Postman software. As part of our REST API classes, we are going to use this Postman tool. We will use this Postman tool as part of our REST APIs development. So once you download that, install that Postman tool. In my system, Postman tool is already available. Let me open that Postman. Postman is a tool that we are going to use to perform our REST API testing. Whatever the REST API we developed, there is no UI. Then how to test it, whether it is working or not. So that's where we are going to use Postman tool in order to test our REST API. So we need to use Postman tool in order to test our REST API. It is a free software. So I want all of you to install that Postman tool, and we need to use that tool as part of our API testing. Okay, so this is my Postman tool. Now in this Postman tool, we can send the request. Okay, this is Postman UI, guys. Postman tool is available. So using this Postman tool, you can send the request to the server. So get request I want to send. Click on send request. Okay. So when I send this is the request type. What request you want to send? Get, post, put, patch, delete, head, options. These all are the HTTP methods we have. So head and options we don't use as part of our API's development. As part of our API development, we are going to use get, post, put, patch, delete. Get is used to get the data. Post is used to send the data. Put is used to update the data. Patch is used to delete the data. Sorry, update the partial. Delete is used to delete the data. So this is the HTTP method, and this is the URL. That server URL, provider URL. I want to test. I want to send the request. Send. So get request I am sending to this URL. So this is Ashok IT backend API URL. Okay. So when I send the get request to Ashok IT backend API URL, what is the status code we are getting? Can you guys see that? What is the status code you are getting when you send the request to the Ashok IT backend API, guys? 401.
Unauthorized.
401. So what is 401? It is a 4 series. Can I say it is a 4 series?
Yes, sir. Bad response.
4 series. 4 series means is it a client mistake or is it a server mistake?
Client mistake.
Client mistake.
4 series means it is a client mistake. So client is sending a request to the server. That request is not accepted by the server because you can't access my backend application directly. Some security I have implemented. So because of that security, your request is failed. 401 boss, you are not authorized to access Ashok IT application. You are not authorized to access this application. Okay, so let me give you some other URL where we can send the request and we can access that URL. Okay, so let me give you one third-party API URL which will give you JSON response directly. Let me show you. I think in the morning JRTP class we used one third-party URL. Yes. Third party means some company developed it. So this is a get request and this is the third party URL, guys. dummyjson.com quotes random. Click on send. So when I send the get request to this URL, what is the status code I'm getting? What is the status code I'm getting now?
200.
200.
200. What is the meaning of 200?
Success.
Success. And what is the response I got? The response is coming in which format?
JSON.
The
JSON.
response is coming in the JSON. So can I call this is one of the provider URL? Can I say this is one of the provider URL?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is provider endpoint. Basically, endpoint is nothing but URL. This is provider endpoint. Provider endpoint nothing but a REST API URL. So when I send request to this REST API URL, so I can send the request from the browser also. But if you send the request from the browser, directly you can see the response. Browser is giving the direct response for you. Is it displaying the status code in the browser? Status code is not coming in the browser. So by default, you can send the GET request from the browser. So this is the URL. I want to get the response. This is the URL. I want to get the response. So directly, I'm getting the response. Who developed this API? We don't know. It is one of the public API available in the internet for our practice purpose. So when I send request to this URL, I'm getting the JSON response. So if I send that request from the postman, I'm getting the status code as a 200. 200 means okay, success. Boss, you sent a GET request to this URL. The server processed your request and server given the response to you. Your request is successful. That means you got to 200. Suppose if I'm sending post request to the same URL, let us see what will happen. I'm sending post request to the same URL. What did he say? Come on.
404. Bad
404.
response.
What is the meaning of 404? Not found. Boss, your
Line
URL is
error.
incorrect. Your URL is incorrect.
Incorrect.
Are you able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
So HTTP protocol is very, very important. I used Postman. What is the purpose of Postman? What is the use of Postman, guys?
Check API.
API testing.
API testing.
So whatever the REST APIs we are developing, for our REST API, UI will not be available. Whatever the REST API we are developing, there is no user interface. Okay, so that's why in order to test the backend REST APIs, we will use a Postman. So by using Postman, you can send a request to the REST API and you can test them, they are working or not. So request URL, this is the URL I want to send the request. What type of request? I want to send a GET request to this URL. When you are sending a request, you can send some headers in the request. Any security is available, then headers you can send. Then body, you can send some data in the request body. Okay, any JSON data that you want to send, you can send in the request body. So request method type, request endpoint URL, any headers you want to send, any body you want to send in the request. So once you send that request, then you will get the response. In the response body will be available. Response status code also will be available. So body and status code. When you are sending the request, so GET request and request URL. This is called request line. So what type of request you want to send, to which server you want to send the request. When you are sending the request, do you want to send any headers in the request? Do you want to send any body in the request? So HTTP request structure. The HTTP request we are sending will be available like this, guys. So whatever the request we are sending, that contains request line. What type of request you want to send, to whom you want to send the request. Request line will be available and request headers will be available. Any information for security tokens you want to send, metadata, that you can send in the request headers, and any data you want to send in the request body. Any business data you want to send to the server, that business data you will send by using request body. So HTTP request is divided into 3 lines, guys. HTTP request is divided into 3 lines. So what are the 3 lines available in the HTTP request? One is request line. That means it will contain what method, what HTTP method you want to send, and request URL, server URL, resource URL, which resource you want to access, that resource URL you need to specify. So when you want to access any provider from the consumer application, you need to prepare HTTP request. Okay, what will be there in the HTTP request? In the HTTP request, request line will be available. What is there in the request line? So HTTP method and the URL that you want to send. Along with that, do you want to send any headers in the request? Do you want to send any body in the request? Headers are used to represent metadata, some security tokens if you want to send. Metadata, any security tokens, metadata plus security tokens that you want to send. For that we are going to use request headers. Request headers we are going to use to send the security data as well as some metadata. Request body. Request body is used to send business data, which is called as payload. So Make My Trip want to book the ticket for the passenger. Passenger data is called as a payload. Passenger data is called business data. Make My Trip application will send the passenger data to the IRCTC in the request body. So any business data we are sending from consumer to provider is called as a payload. Any information that we are sending from consumer to provider is called as a payload. How we will send the payload? Payload we will send in the request body. Any metadata, any security tokens that you want to send from consumer to provider, you will send in the request header. And what type of request you want to send, to whom you want to send the request, that we are going to specify in the request line. What is the HTTP method and to which URL you want to send that request. So like this, HTTP request will be prepared. Consumer will prepare HTTP request programmatically like this. In future, we are going to prepare this HTTP request by using our Java logic, and we will send that request. HTTP request contains 3 parts: request line, request headers, request body. Request line represents to which server you want to send the request and what type of request you want to send. And the headers will contain metadata. Any additional information that you want to send to the server, you can keep in the metadata. And security tokens. If any security is implemented, security tokens we are going to send in the request header. And actual business data we are going to send in the payload. Now if you see IRCTC and Make My Trip communicating, right? Make My Trip will send passenger data as a payload, that is a business data in the JSON format. Your JSON data will be sent to the server in the request body. So when consumer is communicating with the provider, HTTP request should be prepared. That HTTP request is divided into 3 parts: request line, request headers, request body. 3 parts available in the request. Similarly, HTTP response also divided into 3 parts. Whenever we send the request, we are getting the response, right? That HTTP response also divided into 3 parts. What are those 3 parts? Response line will be available, response headers will be available, response body will be available. Response headers and response body. In the response line, what will be available? HTTP status code plus status message will be available. Response headers, metadata will be available. Response body, payload will be available. HTTP response we are getting from the server. In that response body will contain the actual response data. Now you see, I want to send GET request to this URL, send it. So when I send that request, I'm getting the response body and I'm getting the response headers and I'm getting the response status code. So HTTP request structure, HTTP response structure we need to understand. Then only consumer provider communication we can establish. This HTTP used as a mediator between the consumer and provider. Are you guys able to understand the HTTP request and response structures? Guys, the REST API development, microservices development is very interesting subject, and it is my favorite subject. Okay, so I have developed so many REST APIs in my job. So I am very excited to teach you the REST APIs and microservices. So it's one of the favorite subject. It's very interesting because one project is going to communicate with another project by using one mediator. The distributed applications development, that is our life as a developer. So as a developer, every day we need to develop the REST APIs only in the company. It's very interesting subject. If you focus on the class now, you will become very good microservices developer. It's very interesting subject. Whatever we learned earlier and whatever we are learning now, it's completely different. Part 1 of the movie, part 2 of the movie is completely different. Can you see the difference? Up to Spring MVC and from the REST API, any difference is there in the subject? Up to WebMVC, fresher level content. After MVC, experienced level content. That is the difference. Completely difference is there in the subject as well as in the development also. Up to Spring Web MVC, it is a fresher level content. After MVC, REST API, microservices, security, it is experienced level content. I am very excited because it's my favorite subject, REST API development. So what we learned today? Today we learned the communication between the consumer and provider internally, how one application will communicate with the another application, how the JSON data will be used, and who will transfer data from one application to another application. That's where HTTP protocol comes into picture. So that HTTP protocol is a stateless protocol. It cannot remember the conversation happened between the client and server. So in the HTTP protocol, there are several methods available: get method, post method, put method, patch method, delete methods available. Get is used to get the data from the server. Post is used to send the data to server. Put is used to update the data. Patch is used to update the partial data. Delete is used to delete the resource at the server. Then status codes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories available. So for us, the important 1, 3 is not important for us. For us, 2, 4, 5 is important. 2 means success, 4 means client error, 5 means server error. And I have taken one third-party provider endpoint for testing purpose. So I'm using this URL and I'm testing that in the Postman. So with this, we are able to understand HTTP request structure, HTTP response structure. When you go for the HTTP request, so request line, what is the method that you want to use and what is the URL you want to access? And do you want to send any headers? Do you want to send any body? So HTTP request contains request line, request headers, request body. Request line contains method plus resource URL. Request headers contains metadata plus security tokens. Request body will contain payload information will be available. Okay. So once it is done, once we send the request, then we are getting the response from the provider. What will be there in that response? Response line, status code plus status message is available. Metadata is available. Business data is also available. HTTP request structure, HTTP response structure is available. So with this, we got the prerequisites to develop the REST API. Prerequisites, REST API architecture we understood. So what is REST API? The REST API architecture, what is JSON, how to deal with JSON data, what is the HTTP protocol, and what is HTTP method, what is HTTP request, what is HTTP response, we understood. With this knowledge, we are going to understand API's development. So this is Sunday, we have class. Tomorrow, we don't have any class. Tomorrow, festival is available, sir, Saturday. So tomorrow is a holiday for the institute. Sunday, we have the class. Sunday morning, we will start our session from 8 o'clock. 8 to 10:30, we will take the class on Sunday. We are going to understand REST API development in the Sunday session. Is that okay for everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow no class and we have the extra class on Sunday. As we are giving holiday tomorrow, I'm going to take the session on the Sunday. Sunday 8 to 10:30 or 8 to 11, a long session will be available. In the Sunday session, we are going to start our provider development by using Spring Boot. Actual REST APIs we are going to develop in the Sunday session. Sunday session is very important. Don't miss that session. Sunday, same link, 8 o'clock we will start the class. 8 to 10:30 or 8 to 11 class will be available. Is that okay, guys? Any questions from today's
When we
session?
learn the mapping concept?
Sorry?
Mapping, when we learn?
We will learn, sir. Once the APIs are completed, within the APIs only, we will implement the mappings concept.
Okay, sir.
Sir, front-end URL and back-end URL both are different, no, sir?
Yes, madam. Front-end and back-end both are two different applications, two different URLs.
Then which one we can give to browse that any data for client, sir?
Front-end URL we will access in the browser. Front-end application will access the back-end application with the back-end URL.
Sir, will you be covering the security part of it, like how to make it secure through token or
Yes, sir. Security springs. I already told we are going to learn REST API, microservices, security.
sure.
Any questions, anyone? Sir, the class with my video, without my video, which is better? I want to take your feedback.
With video.
With video, it is better, sir.
With video,
is better.
Okay, fine then.
And if you can upload the video on the same day, it would be fine, sir, to revise.
We'll do that, sir. Mostly by afternoon, we will upload it, sir. Maximum time is 24 hours, minimum time is 5 hours only.
Thank you.
So admin will upload it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. And I wish all of you happy Ganesh Chaturthi. Tomorrow is holiday, no class. We have next class on Sunday. Sunday morning, 8 o'clock. We have the class where we are going to learn API development. Don't miss that. Whatever the theory we have learned from last 2 days, this we will implement practically in this Sunday session. Sunday, 3 hours class will be available. In between, I will give some break also. Okay, 7 to 11 class will be there. 15 in between, 15 minutes will take the break also. 3 hours long session will be available. Don't miss that. I will remind you in the WhatsApp group also. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, same to you, sir.